be sending out emails to you about all of those. And March, it might be May. You might have to look at it again, right? So anyway, all of that will be on the website, and I'll send out emails as well. Okay, so anyway, I'll have Charlie introduce.
All right, good morning and welcome everyone. You guys ready to drink? We have a bunch of Ubers lined up out back, so you're going to be I'm here to introduce my good friend and colleague and boss, Andrew Welder. Andrew is a graduate of Cornell School of Hotel Administration. While he spent many hours studying finance, he spent many more hours studying wine. His first job in the wine industry came at the ripe age of 18, unalert. He was a freshman at the time, and his youthful arrogance led him to believe he was qualified to start the first wine program at the Stratford Hotel's main dining room in Bonneville. After graduating college, he did what all foolhardy guys do. Instead of following his designated career path to Napa, he followed a girl to New York City. There, he worked for some of the best chefs in the country, including Didier Verreau, Lydia Bastianich, and Mario Vitale. Andrew loves blind tasting wine. It's probably because he has a short attention span. and likes the instant notification of getting a blind wine correct. He also believes that blind tasting is an integral part of wine appreciation and is the most important skill for a wine professional aside from not being snooty. Andrew's passion lies in some obscure wine regions. Here we go. The Languedoc, Friuli, Loire Valley.
Very good.
His greatest loves, however, are Piedmont and Rioja.
That's correct.
I Googled those pronunciations.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right on. You did wonderfully. So before we get started here, by show of hands, do I have any chemists in here? Wow. Chemists, sort of? Cool. All right, so you would help out when I stumble. Also, by show of hands, the amount of wine you would think you would need to consume every day? No? Once a week? There you go, I got it. Okay, once a week? Once a month? Cool. All right. This topic is so incredibly large that it's extremely difficult to boil down to something that is easy to reach out and touch for everyone. So, not knowing exactly what everyone's baseline are, we're going to make this a free-for-all. You can shout out at me anytime you want to get a little bit of clarification, or take a step back, or if you want something a little bit more in-depth, you just let me know, okay? I'm going to pick on people throughout the lecture, and we're going to try to get to know each other a little bit, because the thing about wine is that it should be a social endeavor. So if we don't get to know each other while we're doing this, then there's really no point. All right, so let's get rocking and rolling, all right? Wine tasting, what is it? First, it's the practice of going through a series of wines without knowing what they are beforehand. Looking at what the wine is telling you by its visual cues, by its aromas, by its structure in your mouth, and then figuring out what it is objectively and subjectively. So if you know what you're drinking beforehand, then you're going to have a lot of preconceived notions about it. I'm sure some of you have heard about the two-buck chuck wine tasting, where two-buck chuck, all the first growth wines at Bordeaux. Those bottles retail at $400 a bottle on release. Two-buck chuck is $2. Hopefully, as a professional, once you have a baseline of what this wine tasting is about, that would never happen. But on the other hand, you don't know until you try it. So we have a series of wines in front of you. And we're going to go through them and see what you guys can tell me about them. And we'll try to figure out where they come from. Sound good? All right, cool. So as a baseline here, we're going to talk about the varietals, which are what is the actual grape that makes up the wine. There's a difference between where a wine comes from and what's actually what the wine is made of. So when we talk about something like Bordeaux, that's a place, it's not a grape. They're actually 5 grapes in Bordeaux. And you're probably familiar with most of them. They're Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, all that. And the last one, Petit Verdot, they don't grow very much anymore. But it doesn't tell you what the variety is. So when we're tasting blind, we're going to want to figure out both of those things. What is the variety, and where did it come from? Obviously, next then is going to be the region, where the wine was grown. And we say wine is grown, it does not mean if it's done right, that the work was done in the vineyard, and then the winemaker just doesn't screw it up. The vintage, and yes, if you get really good at blind tasting, you'll be able to figure that out. The vineyard, a specific plot of land. If we're talking about a wine from Barolo, where they're actually labeling the vineyard should have enough different characteristics that if it's a well-made wine, an experienced wine taster will tell you exactly where it came from. And then, finally, who actually made it, the guy's name, or the gal's name. These are all possibilities. So, yeah, we can definitely do it.
Can we do multiple choice?
I'm sorry, say again?
Can we do multiple choice?
Can we do multiple choice? We actually will. So, how do we do it? Anybody ever watch House?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, do you remember the type of practice he was using to come up with the diagnosis? What they called it?
He swished it in his mouth.
Say again?
He swished it in his mouth.
Yeah, he did swish it as well. No, they used a practice called differential diagnosis, and that is kind of the way I was taught to taste wine blind. Charlie mentioned a guy named Didier Barreau, who was a really brilliant French chef in New York City. He was of Alsatian descent, so on the German border. And it's a cool place because they have a really wide variety of wines, which is not actually common. Most European winemakers really only know about wine from their own area. It's very, very uncommon. So he imparted this skill in me. So what differential diagnosis is basically looking at what are all the variables. Say for House, it was looking at a sick person. He would look at the medical history. He would take a look at all of their symptoms. And then they would play those symptoms and the medical history off each other and start to eliminate things that didn't fit in with what the symptoms were telling. And that's the same thing we're going to do with the wine. We're going to say, oh, the color doesn't work right for a thin-skinned grape. It's too dark. It's too much pigment. Or it has a lot of alcohol, so it must be quite right. So that's kind of the basis of differential diagnosis. We're just going to look through it and start cutting away the things that don't make sense. There are limitations, of course, to blind tasting. If the wine does not have sufficient varietal character, in other words, the grape isn't expressing itself in the wine, that's going to make it really difficult because as we get a little deeper into this, you're going to see that the chemical makeup of the wine is very, very important to being able to distinguish it from other wines. That makes sense, right? Because the chemical makeup is what gives its unique character. Our varietal character isn't everything because the region is also really important. But that region also has to be established in that if you talk about a new region like the Eastern Bench in Ontario, it's only been around for 10 years. So the winemakers haven't really figured out what's going on there. So there isn't really a line of demarcation moving through all of the wines that would say what they're supposed to taste like. So if you lose both varietal and regional typicity, then that's it. Clearly the winemaker can't screw the wine up. This happens an embarrassingly rich amount of times. It's really rather sad, but the good thing about new wine regions is that winemakers tend to really bond together and learn from each other. And usually the cream of the crop rises, the market does a really good job filtering out lesser wines, and you end up with some kind of homogeny throughout the region. And obviously the last thing is provenance. Was the wine shipped and stored properly? If it's cooked or oxidized or any of those things, that we're not going to know anything about it. So we're going to take a quick 3 minutes to provide a baseline for wine making. Has anybody done any winery tours? Yes? Okay, cool. So you've seen a little bit of how this is done. On the left, that's the town of Lamora in the DOCG of Barolo, which is in Piedmont, West Italy. As Charlie told you, that's like very, very foliage that we are actually right around harvest in September. We've got some leaf turn going on there. Once we pick, we move to the sorting tables. This is the worst job in the world. I promise you it looks nothing like this picture. When we sort grapes, we do it in full bee gear. Because bees really love sweet grape juice. And it is horrible. We're out there with carbon dioxide tanks and nitrogen tanks blasting at the bees, just trying not to get stung while we go through this. We'll sort through, pick all the weeds out. We look for grapes that might have any kind of rock on them or mold, anything that might contaminate the wine. Some molds or rocks can be beneficial. And if you ever had dessert wines, like Sauterne, that has a rock called Tratus, and we're actually rather fond of them in certain styles. This area on the left, that is Barolo. So it's in Piedmont, in the northwest of Italy. Some of our most valuable piece of equipment in the winery is the bladder press on the left. It has multiple functions. When the grapes come into the winery, if you want to make white wine, you're going to put them right into that press. If you can see in the middle, this little black thing right here is an air bladder. We'll press air into it, it expands, and it pushes the grapes out against those wood slats. Now in large wineries, we're going to have a huge metal drum style one that may take up this entire room. We may have 4 or 5 of those running at a time. As the bladder expands, it presses the grapes and separates the juice off of them. Now it traps the skins in between the bladder and the slats. So the juice will run out, put that into a vat, like over here on the right. And if it's a white wine, we're going to take all the skins and stems and pips, what we call pips that are actually seeds, and we're going to separate those and get rid of them, and then we'll ferment the white juice. If it's a red wine, we're going to take all those skins and pips and we're going to throw them into the fermentation container right here. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of green over here. This is Pinot Noir that we decided to ferment with the stems in it. It adds some additional aromatic complexity, some structure in the form of phenols. Something kind of interesting. Since the color of the wine actually comes from the skins, you can make white wine from red grapes. Does that make sense? No? So all grape juice is white. The black grapes still have white juice in it. The way you get color in the wine is by allowing the skins to sit in contact with the juice as it ferments. So this is actually a very, very complex reaction. As alcohol begins to form in your must or grape juice, it reacts with some of the esters and allows the anthocyanins, which are the color pigments inside the grapes, to turn the grape juice from white to red, or purple, or really any other kind of brickish red or brown color. The chemical reactions there can really be manipulated by the winemaker. The pH has a huge impact on the way the color is extracted. So if you have really ripe grapes, and therefore they're very sweet, and lack a little bit of acidity, then you end up with a very purplish color wine. This is important because that's going to be an indicator later on as we're tasting as to where this wine might have come from. Now, if it was from a very cold climate and the acidity was high, we're going to get a more of a red hue, purple hue. So you see how maybe as we look through the wines, we're going to be able to say, this one's purple, this one's red, this maybe was a warm climate, this one's maybe a cold climate. Does that make sense? So total acidity as a stand-in for the pH. Is it clear to everybody that as we have higher acidity, the pH goes down? Yes? Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right, from here, this little tub, we're going to move on to our fermentation vessels. And here we have a whole bunch of different cool fermentation vessels. These pictures, by the way, are from my best friend Christopher Bates' winery, Finger Lakes, Element. Chris is a master sommelier. He He is a highly decorated guy. His restaurant in the Finger Lakes actually just won best restaurant in the country from USA Today. It's only 12 seats. If you're ever touring up there, I'll let you know. And he can tell me, that he can't do seats anymore. No, I'd be happy to try to make a reservation for you. It's a really amazing place. It's just him and 12 people and one assistant. So it's really cool.
What's the name of it?
It's called FLX Table. So FLX for Finger Lakes. He also has a wienery up there where he makes gourmet and craft hot dogs. He's a one-of-a-kind guy. You'll see some pictures of him later. He looks a little bit like Mario Batali, and he hates when people say that. So let me tell you a little bit about our fermentation vessels. So we have, these are all used oak barrels. The difference between a new and a used oak barrel is that new barrels impart a lot of lactones. These are vanilla and spice characters into the wine. They also create a lot of breadth. As the barrel gets used, they start to get lined by tartaric acid. Have you ever had a bottle of white bottle of wine and get down to the bottom of it and it has all these little white crystals in it? That's actually a really good sign. It means the wine wasn't cold stabilized. It means very minimal winemaking time. So that tartaric acid is literally just cream of tartar. You might have used for baking. It settles out of the wine when you chill it, and it lines the inside of these barrels. It makes the barrels somewhat inert, which is great if you just want to have a little bit of slow oxidation going on during your fermentation, as opposed to imparting a lot of barrel character. Those are also key notes that you're going to need as we taste wine later, okay? So think lactones, vanilla, spice, and sometimes a little bit of a char burgundy there.
Excuse
All right.
me.
Yes?
Question. On the barrels, do they actually put in the vanilla and,
No.
and things like that?
No, those...
Or is that inherent to the grape?
No, it's inherent to the barrel, actually. Yes.
But it's oak, so are all oaks equal?
No, oaks are definitely not equal. There's a huge difference between the three main oak producers in the world. There is American oak, French oak, and Slovenian. American oak has a very, very distinct character. As time has moved on, especially in the last 20 years, they found a way to manipulate American oak to make it a little bit more French. But that's a key note also as you taste through wine, is to go say, this wine smells of American oak versus French oak versus Slovenian oak. Once you know something about the regions, you know who typically uses those different types of oak. For example, Rioja in the north of Spain, just south of the Pyrenees in the Basque country, they typically used American oak because it was cheap and they could get it after bourbon producers had used the bourbon barrels, because in bourbon you're only allowed to use oak the first time. So after that, they would clean the barrels very, very aggressively, scrape the barrels down, ship them to Spain, and then they would age Rioja. It's pretty cool. Whereas if you're thinking about Bordeaux, the Bordelais are not using anything but Allier oak from France. That is it. They are, well, one, they can afford it. If you've ever seen the Chateau in Bordeaux, it's insane.
How long do the barrels last?
They last indefinitely if they're properly cured for. They can, there are some infections that can get into the barrel that are difficult to get rid of. So it's really up to the winemaker. But generally they get burned out with sulfur in between, and that tends to kill a lot of things. There is one fungal infection that can be a good thing and can be a bad thing. It's called Restaurateur, and if it gets too pervasive, then most winemakers will just throw that barrel out. But as you can see, there are quite a few barrels are going to go into any batch. So one barrel may be used in a blend, or it may be thrown out as that the Restaurateur catches on to it. There are other things that get into the worst, like acetobacter, which will cause all acidity or vinegar in the wine. That is not good at all. All right, so we got some steel tanks here. If you can see, there's a line going in and a CO2 tank. That has a lid on it. We pressure that down, put a blanket of CO2 on it, and that gives you a much different fermentation character than the barrels will, because the barrels are allowing a slow amount of oxygen to permeate through the wine as it ferments or as it ages. Whereas the steel is completely inert. It is surrounded by gas. No oxygen is leaking in or out of it. If you want oxygen into the fermentation or into the aging, you have to provide it yourself. So much more winemaker control there. You're going to see a lot more kind of traditional, classic, steely style white wines done this way. Or very, very fresh and vibrant, meant to be drunk young, kind of full red wines might be done that way also. Now, oak is very expensive and it requires a lot of labor. So wines that are aged in oak, generally a little bit more expensive. If a winemaker wants to cheat, they can put oak staves into a steel barrel, or they can put spirals, they can put dust in it. They actually do these things. One of the big differences between commercial wine and fine wine is that type of manipulation. What we have right here is, you saw the little corner of it on the last slide. This container, this is a maceration or fermentation container. It's just covered with a tarp. There is actually Pinot Noir in here right now. It is fermenting away, bubbling. What's interesting here is that you don't need, during an active fermentation, you don't really need to put any CO2 over it, because the wine's going to make its own, right? So you start with C6, H12O6, sugar, and then you're going to convert that into ethanol and CO2. The amount of sugar creates the potential for alcohol. So you get more sugar with more ripeness equals more alcohol. All right, that's super important. We're going to revisit that in another slide. The little brush here, really, really important. Yes, ma'am?
Should I save my questions until the end?
No, I want you to keep it up. Although first I need your name.
Valentina.
Valentina.
Okay.
Valentina, your favorite thing to do when you're not drinking wine?
Playing tennis.
I love it. Awesome. All right, what's your question?
All right. Now, I have a bottle of wine, and it sat, this particular one sat there for a while.
Yep.
And it was peach. When I drank it, it was nice.
Okay.
So, and then I went to the winery and had the exact same bottle of wine. Once it was fresher, right?
Yep.
And I go to the winemaker and say, we changed the recipe.
Yeah.
Just like that, I totally changed the recipe, because the one I had was sweeter,
Right.
and the one that he was providing for tasting was not. So did the wine get sweeter in the bottle?
No.
So it really was the recipe.
It could have been the recipe. It could have been what he put into the wine in terms of what the actual produce was. Or it could have been your palate that day.
Yeah, he said he did change it.
Well.
He was surprised that I recognized it like that.
Cool. No, that's great. I love it. Sharp palate. Women tend to have better palates than men. So that's an unfortunate fact of life. Sir, did you have a question?
Yeah, my name's Grape. I'm getting a little shaky. Why don't you start me?
Well, I promise, there are. You know what? You're jumping the gun a little bit on it. Let me get through this slide. All right. This little brush is really, really, really important. The sides of the tank. Up in here, you notice how the line of the wine does not come up here. There's only a couple little specks. These little specks, they love to trap oxygen when we lift the lid off. When we do that, the Acetobacter gets really hungry and starts eating. And as you macerate wine, red wines, you have to do something to keep the color moving through the wine. Otherwise, you're going to get white wine on the bottom and red wine on the top. You're going to end up with pink wine. So the way we keep the pigments coming out of the wine is by punching it down with a big stick and a plate on the bottom. Or we take a pump and we just continue to pump the wine over top of the skins to keep them mixed up. Now that causes splashing and oxygenation. You get Acetobacter in there with oxygen, and all of a sudden you get vinegar and ethyl acetate. These are bad things in large quantity, small quantity. Might be okay. Might actually make the wine better. But if you don't keep those edges clean, you have a problem. The last thing I'm going to say about this is we use SO2 in the wine, that's sulfur dioxide. When they're free in the wine, I see scowling out there. They become sulfites. I'm going to tell you right now, everything that everyone ever told you about sulfite is a lie. It is an outright lie. It does not cause hangovers. It does not cause headaches. It doesn't cause, it doesn't. I promise, I'll tell you about what does cause headaches. But sulfites are naturally occurring. They're on every piece of fruit you've ever eaten in your entire life. And they only affect 1 in 10,000 asthmatics. And they can cause an asthmatic reaction. But beyond that, they are completely healthy for you. What's bad about sulfites is when there's too much and there's SO2 free in the wine. Then you can get a burnt matchstick kind of aroma. It can be kind of like a burning sensation on your tongue. And once you develop a knowledge of where and how it feels on your palate, you will never enjoy an over-sulfured wine again. It drives me crazy. One of the greatest German wine producers in the world, always over-sulfurs his Riesling, and it takes 25 years for that sulfur to burn off, and it makes me crazy. But I just want you to know sulfur is fine. It's necessary. Well, it's very similar to the way that MSG think. In the 70s, somebody wrote an article, published in a journal, everyone picked up on it, the article was then retracted, nobody picked up on the retraction, and everybody now thinks MSG and sulfites are bad. Go ahead.
There are other chemicals in wine.
Sure, yes, absolutely. We will get to those. There certainly are the chemicals. The first one, though, is the reason we use this bladder press is because it's the most gentle way to press the grapes. There are phenols in the pips especially that are going to give you massive headaches when they're squeezed. They're broken, you get those oils out, the phenols are released into the wine, it creates a certain bitterness, which cheap ones then mask with sugar. So now you have sugar, which makes alcohol absorption faster, mixed with phenols, and you have a recipe for headache. Also sugar, did I just say this? Sugar speeds the absorption of alcohol. Did I say that? Sugar speeds the absorption of alcohol. Yes. Now, if you're like my mom, you eat your cake before dinner on an empty stomach, you're really in trouble. If it's afterwards, hopefully you've had a complex enough meal that you balance those things out.
Does that run in combination with the sugar that's already in the alcohol?
Yes, it absolutely takes very, very little sugar mixed with the alcohol to get you moving. So alcohol is a rather complex chain. It's more difficult to break down. Once you start mixing sugar with it, your body's like, ooh, insulin, let's break that down. You get an insulin rush, the alcohol starts to go, and that's the end of the story. All right?
Well, how much sugar are they using? I mean,
They're not using, they shouldn't be using any sugar. But sugar is naturally occurring. So let's move through, and we'll address that a little bit. One more. All right, guys. The way we start every tasting that I have ever conducted is with wine with bubbles in it. So take a couple sips of your cava. Turn around and please introduce yourself to your neighbors, because this now is a social experiment. We're going to do a lot of talking. Does everybody have cava? If not, Charlie's going to pour. I need a sip.
No, it's this one.
Right
Oh, it's
there.
this one. Yeah. If it's not one of them, then that's that.
So a quick note about the cava you're drinking here. It is it's Spanish sparkling wine. It is not champagne. Champagne only comes from the Champagne region of France. As we discussed really briefly earlier, Bordeaux is a place. Champagne is a place also. They use many grapes, three main ones. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. This wine is made from Viura and Macabeo. Those are traditional Spanish white grapes. It's made in the same method as champagne, which is pretty important. Champagne is made by fermenting the wine most of the way through, adding a tiny bit of sugar to it, putting a cork in it, putting a cage on it, and then allowing the yeast that is still existing in the wine to naturally ferment out to dryness or to relative dryness and create those bubbles. So the main reaction we have in fermentation, right, is the sugar with the yeast creates alcohol and CO2. So CO2, you see bubbling, and you have a fully fermented product. This is a little bit less bubbly than champagne. Champagne is about 110 psi when it's fully corked and cold, and this is in the 75 to 80 range. Yes.
What champagne, does it really matter whether you have a narrow glass or not?
That is an awesome question. I like to decant my champagne, actually.
What?
I decant my champagne. I want some, I actually pour it into a decanter. I like some of the bubbles to come off. CO2 has an interesting reaction with the wine. As it's dissolved, it pushes the pH down. So you're going to get a more tart, more acidic product just by having more dissolved carbon dioxide. Also, the colder it is, the more tart it's going to feel on your palate. And the more tart you have, the less of the grape and winey complexity you're going to get. So let it warm up, let the bubbles come off. I pour mine into a regular wine glass. I mean, this is about as much champagne-like as you can get. It's not hurting my enjoyment. I don't know about you guys. I'm ready to kick back and hang out now.
When you say tart, do you mean dry?
Let's save that till after this one. But that's a great question. I love it. Sir in the back, what's your name?
You said this was about 110, or this is about 85?
Yeah, it's about 85 psi.
Where would Prosecco fall?
Say again?
Where would Prosecco fall?
Prosecco would be about 50 to 60, sometimes as low as 30. Frizzante would be down about that level. Generally, they talk about, in the industry, we talk about these in atmospheres, but I don't know that that really relates that well. So Prosecco is 4 to 6 atmospheres. This is 8 to 9, and champagne is 10 to 12.
So we're going to talk about the best wines out there?
Sure, we can talk about it. We can literally, yeah, the best is completely subjective.
Yes.
All right, so what do you guys think of this, the bubbles? Good? It has a little champagne character. You notice a little bit of bread notes, kind of yeastiness. That is from the wine aging on what are called the fine lees. That's the yeast that settles to the bottom of the fermentation tanks. And then there's another called the gross lees. Those are pulled off. You get an autolytic reaction, which creates acetaldehyde, causes hangovers. It's that green apple character. You might pick a little green apple up. That's okay. A little acetaldehyde gives the wine a little bit of lift, a little bit of brightness, also a little bit of pungency in the nose. So if you put this wine on your palate, purse your lips, pull a little oxygen over it, and then exhale out your nose. This is how sommeliers and really snobby people drink wine. But it's also necessary to the process. You are definitely, one or two of you, actually half of you, are going to get wine coming out of your nose. Perfectly acceptable. I guarantee you, at least once during this class, I will choke and spit on wine. It's going to happen. It goes down the wrong pipe every time I do this. And usually the more people I have, the more I do it. All right. It does. So what's happening there? Why are we doing that? Why do you want to pull oxygen over the wine while it's sitting on your palate? It's the same reason people swirl the glass. Now these glasses aren't perfect for swirling. You want the taller ones to hopefully allow you to do it. But while you're swirling, just keep it on the table and give it a little swirl. Not too vigorous. You don't want it too vigorous. The reason, it's the same reason when you pull the air over the wine. You want to do it a little bit at a time, swallow. Put it back in your palate, a little bit more aggressive, swallow. As you do that, you're volatilizing different aromatic compounds in the wine. So ethanol likes to evaporate when you put any kind of breeze over top of it, right? And as it evaporates, it pulls these aromatic compounds out, and then you breathe out your nose, you're getting into your olfactory system, which is really what's tasting the wine. The flavors you're getting are coming out of your nose. So when you exhale also going to be bleeding off some of that CO2 and warming, so you're going to lose some of the tartness. If you all behave, at the end of class, I will teach you how to savor a champagne bottle. All right? But you cannot tell anybody that I taught you because I'm not having you sign waivers. Okay, so this is one of the two most important charts I can show you in tasting wine. What we have here is the green line represents acidity during, well, let's go through your X and Y axis. Your X axis is time. So we start here in, what would this be, about February or March? Late March into April. And as we move down here, we're now in late August to mid-September. The Y-axis is your concentration of the acidity of the sugar. So you have, the red line is the sugar, and you see it as time moves on, it's going up, yes? And acidity is going down. So the goal of the winemaker is to pick the grapes at the ideal level of ripeness that has sufficient acidity to create a balanced wine. But the main takeaway here is that sugar equals ethanol potential. So the more sugar we have, the more potential for alcohol we have. And then the more alcohol potential we have, the less acidity we're going to have. There are specific situations where we can try to play with that a little bit, but that is largely a function of climate, and not winemaking. Well, this picture actually came out quite well. The next thing we're going to do when we start to evaluate wine is to look at the colors. So take a quick look. You'll see here that we have, again, kind of an X and a Y thing here. We have concentration moving this direction and darkness moving this direction in white wines. As wines oxidize, white wines oxidize, they get darker. So as a white wine ages, it gets darker. The opposite happens for red wine. As red wines age, they get lighter and turn more brown. And this, on this chart though, it's showing different colors or hues of red that you can get in red wine. Garnet, red, ruby, into purple, and again into concentration. So we talked a little bit about how pH can affect the color of the wine and therefore can tell you something about the climate. If we combine the last chart and this one, you can see that as sugar goes up and acid goes down, that will tell you that in a warmer climate you're going to get more sugar and less acid, right? And in a cold climate, you're going to get less sugar and more acid. Does that make sense? So if you're Australian, it's really hot, you have a lot of potential for alcohol and very low acidity. And that bears out in practice. Whereas if you look over to a very cold place like Champagne, you're going to get a lot of acidity and very low sugar content, therefore very low alcohol. So as we taste wine, we go, the color of this says it's purple. It's a higher pH and it's white climate. Do you see how we tie those things together? Yes? I'm seeing a little bit of confusion.
Say that one more time.
Okay.
Purple?
Yeah, so if you have purple, then that suggests that during the fermentation, there was a higher pH. Higher pH means lower acidity. Lower acidity means warmer climate.
Okay.
Right? When we tie those things together, now look, I'm not going to expect you to be able to tell me that, my friend Arnaldo Caprai made a certain multiple geometry. Okay, that's not what we're doing here. What we're trying to figure out is the basics of what is available to us in terms of knowledge. So that's just color right there. As we get into tasting, I'm going to give you a couple more hints, but I want to stay with some of the broader stuff now. Now, when we talk about aromas, I like to start with a very broad categorization. What is ripe, less ripe versus more ripe? So we have some idea from the color, right, of more ripe versus less ripe. Then we can start to say, what are the smells in this? Do I smell red fruits or black fruits? What is sweeter, a raspberry or a blackberry? I always do that. Actually, blackberries are a lot sweeter. They also have lower acidity. Yes.
That's like a bell pepper. A green bell pepper isn't as sweet as red.
Ah, right on. very common flavor in red wine. Black currants are sweeter than red currants. If you want to try to remember it, think of cranberries. You're not going to get it very much more tart than a cranberry, right? So think cranberry versus blackberry. Cranberries are very tart, blackberries have the potential to be very, very sweet. All right. You have kind of herbal kind of flavors here versus brighter, sweeter herbal flavors. The menthol, eucalyptus, you might put basil in there. And then the last one is kind of important. You have whole berries. Now, like a cherry, a red cherry, a black cherry can be both people. Or they could have been cooked with sugar and turned into jam. And then that's going to have a much sweeter and kind of compote or cooked flavor, right? So as you're tasting, am I getting individual fruits, or does it really taste kind of jam? And I think you're going to be able to get that today in one of these foods. All right. This is a picture of what happens after a 20-hour workday in a winery. That first tank I showed you, we found out at 1:30 in the morning that it was leaking. And so that's what my brain looked like when we saw that. Esters, terpenes, thiols, and pyrazines, we don't talk about these very much when we're drinking, but since we're science dorks here, let's talk just a quick bit. The esters and terpenes are super important. Esters are not native in high concentration to grapes. They result during the fermentation as alcohol and pH and the yeast interact with each other. Okay? So they take compounds and they switch them around and they change the flavor a little bit. Terpenes are super important because the terpenes are individual aromatic compounds that are native to the grape. Some grapes have a lot of terpenes, some grapes don't. And once you know sort of what those terpenes are, then you can start to say, oh, well, this has to be Gewürztraminer, this has to be Riesling, this has to be Nebbiolo. Thiols and pyrazines. Thiols are specific. You're going to taste thiols in one of your wines there. They're important because they have a kind of passion-free or grape-free note, and they're very distinct. And pyrazines are also very important because they have that bell peppery, grass, or herbal character, and they're also very related to a certain set of grapes. Question? Thiols can cause hangovers, but we're talking about a slightly different thiol. Just for you, the thiols, they are also called mercaptans because they like to grab mercury atoms, attach them on. In high concentrations, they smell like onion or garlic, and they definitely pour rotten eggs. 10 5 also hydrogen sulfides. Mercaptans, hydrogen sulfides both give you headaches. That might be part of why the sulfite thing stays on too. But okay, mouthfeel. You can feel alcohol. It's warm, sweet, broad. It gives viscosity to the wine. Acidity, feels sparkly on your tongue. Causes you to salivate more. That's super important when you're eating. Drinking wine makes you salivate, causes your palate, gets you ready for another bite of steak. Tannin is a phenol. It's bitter. It adds balance. It coats your teeth. It dries your palate. So when you have a good balance of tannin acidity, you go dry, wet. Dry, wet. It's pushing and pulling, it's yin and yang. That creates balance, harmony. It's super important. Glycerol, people talk about, it's like a really snobby wine myth. Oh, I swirl the wine, I see tears, and I can see it, it stains, and there's like a streak going down. It's a myth. Glycerol has literally nothing to do with wine. So next, if you ever hear somebody at a wine and cheese tasting talking about glycerol, you can say, wine only has glycerol in 5 to 12 parts per million, and you need over 28 to be able to perceive them on your tongue. So, myth. That other picture here, this is after we realized that the tank was leaking, and we spent an hour and a half moving the grapes by hand into a new vessel. That's Christopher. At 3 in the morning, unhappy, and covered in grape must. Thankfully, it was late enough that the bees were all sleeping. And this is what we do when we recover from making wine. We go up into Chris's cellar. That's Chris's wife, Isabel, and she's drinking a $400 bottle of Chateauneuf pop straight out of the bottle. This winemaker passed away the week we were making this, so it's never going to be made again. That's also a 30,000 bottle wine cellar. And let's have a blast. That's Bob, Chris's dad, throwing some nitrogen on top of the tank to put a little layer down before the fermentation begins. All right, I'm going to come up and join you. You can throw out questions all you want. Take a little bit of a look at your wine wheel. The wine wheel is super cool. Oh, I think I do. Charlie, you have any more wine wheels in there?
Oh, yeah, we have plenty.
So we don't really talk that much about, the chemicals in the wine when we're tasting. Some of the master sommeliers have kind of moved on to, a couple of the very important ones like thiol and rotundant, which tends to be a very spicy peppercorn, or the pyrazines, because they denote very specific characters. But let's start here. Here's a question of someone how do I apply? Right, take a look. Grab your first one.
Right.
The first red.
The first, I reversed it. Let's actually start with this.
The white? The white? Okay.
Yeah, let's start with this. Take a look at your colors. First thing is one darker than the other?
Yeah.
Yeah? Which one's darker?
The first one.
The first one, right?
I think so.
Would you say the hue is similar or different? It's pretty similar? I see a tiny bit more green in the second one, but only a very, very little bit. So we would probably say this is like, what? Is this like that pale straw color? Let's go back to the... So...
Yeah, it's really.
Is it in here? Over here? Here? What do you think? The top one? Maybe in between the moderate and the deep? Somewhere in between? I totally agree. I think that is straw and moderate deep. So that's going to tell you a little bit about the concentration of the wine, right? Because there's more color to it, there's more actual solids in it. If it didn't have the solids, it wouldn't have any color. Alright? So maybe that tells us that the wine is a little bit riper than the other one. So there's more matter in it. There's a riper grape. So let's sniff it and then compare it to the other one. Whoa. Pretty different, huh? Alright, shout out to me. What's the first thing you smell in the first one?
Chardonnay.
It smells of Chardonnay? Okay. The first one's most fruitier? You think the second one's fruitier? Okay. The first one's more intense?
Yeah, the first one is all musty.
Okay. Alright, I'm hearing that the first wine has less of a... I might have to smell your glasses.
Musty.
It's possible that we have some mix, but I don't think so. But I don't have to taste your wine. I'll know from the smell. There's one smell more lemony than the other. Which one? The second one. Does one have any kind of, aroma similar to this cava? Yes? Which one?
Oh, wait, maybe it's not.
Your wines are definitely reversed from mine. great. We've now narrowed it down. Okay, so that aroma, does it smell maybe like baked bread? Could you get down with that? Does that make sense?
Which one?
Bready aroma? The one that smells more like champagne, which for me is one I think most of you used to. It's the darker one. Yeah? Little baked bread aroma. Okay, that is a super important clue. If you go, oh, this smells a little champagne. What that is that autolytic reaction. It is the wine that sat on top of the yeast, and it is distinct to only a few wine regions of the world. It's called sur-lie aging. And what they do is they leave it on those fine yeast and they stir it up every once in a while. So the reason they do that is because it's a relatively light, thick wine. They want to add some complexity to it. This is, to me, the only wine in the world that has ground cru quality from a non-noble, actually pretty crappy grape. But it really reflects where it comes from amazingly well.
People say, oh, only cook with what you would be willing to drink.
No, don't ever do that.
Don't waste wine.
Do not do that.
What's the best wine to cook with?
The wine you're not going to drink.
The wine you're not going to drink.
Yeah, when you cook wine, you cook it. I mean, we wine producers and importers do everything they can to keep the wine from ever going above 60 degrees. When you heat it to 212 and you boil it, I mean, there's literally nothing left of the aromatics that were in the wine originally. All you're getting are the solids and the acidity, and that is it. I mean, you have volatilized all the deliciousness off the wine. DDA taught me, so I was working Master Wines when I first moved to New York City, and a guy called and said, do you buy wine at private cellars? I said, no, I don't, but I was young and arrogant, and I thought I had more money than I did, so I was like, I might be interested. What do you have? He goes, well, my uncle just died, and he left me 4 bottles of 1983 Chateau Margaux, which is our first row of Bordeaux, out of Frank Sinatra's wine cellar.
Wow.
And he said, I have the authenticated auction receipt to prove it. I go, great, how much do you want? He goes, $400 a bottle. I go, this guy has no idea what he has. They were currently retailing for $1,600 a bottle, and those were not Frank Sinatra's, those were just random shelf wine. So I'm like, this is amazing. So I bought them. And then I poured them for my first mentor, DDA. I opened the first bottle, and he said in his very French accent, shit, Andrew, I am sorry. The wine is fucking corked. And I'm like, oh no. Cork taint is trichloroanisole. It's a mixture of a fungus, bleach that they use on the cork, and ethanol. It happens to 1 in 10 bottles. I'm frustrated as hell. At this point, nobody knew anything about cork taint other than it ruined wine. This is not that long ago. So I said, okay, it was DDA's birthday. So the next Friday, I brought another bottle, corked. Now I'm 800 in, and this does not seem like such a good deal anymore. I'm frustrated. The third bottle was good. It was great. But we would take all those corked wines and we would cook with them. You cook it, the trichloroanisole volatilizes, and it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It's cooked out. It's fine. We now know that if you take saran wrap, which I believe is polyethylene, and you put it in the wine, it actually takes a significant number of the volatile compounds out of the wine. It literally strips the wine. And it strips some of the good stuff out too, but it sucks the protein right out.
Is there a certain type of wine that's better to cook with?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But with wine, since you're really only getting the solid compounds that really don't have any, the solids, the one that really don't have any aromatic content left, you're just getting the acidity. So if you're looking for acidity, I would cook with something that's rather tart. Muscadet works well, but really cheap, cruddy Muscadet. You know, the $6 bottle stuff, $4 bottle stuff. We use Canyon, whatever, Rich Canyon or whatever, $8 a magnum. That's what we put in our French onion. We don't. Yeah, definitely don't think too much about it.
What's your opinion on wine aerators for cheaper wine? The wine aerator.
The wine values, love it. it takes a lot of experimentation. For fruity, early to drink stuff, I like a lot of nondescript Spanish wine. You have to often look at very emerging areas. It's not super easy. You really kind of have to go at it. And once wines become more expensive, vineyard prices go up. Very wealthy people who have more money than brains just buy. They push land prices up again. Self-fulfilling prophecy. So
I think those things really do work. I've tasted, first taste, and then you let it sit for maybe a day.
Oh,
then you use it again, and oh wow.
breathing is a great topic. Traditionally made wines that are made in a somewhat oxidative style, where they allow oxygen in the wine, they tend to do better with a little bit of decanting. Those wines also tend to be traditionally made where the balance is more toward the ability to age the wine, so it's not so good with youth. They can the kind of the structural components of the tannin, they can soften up with a little bit of oxidation. So decanting can help those. Modern style wines, like the really purpley ones that you're getting at a Napa, they have a lot of new oak on them. They tend to not do well with oxygen. They get thrown out of balance. The wood gets stronger, and the kind of the delicious aromatics get worse.
What do you think of wines from Portugal?
Wines from Portugal. Not super to my taste, but certainly can be amazing. They can be great. They tend to be very ripe and a little bit pruny, similar to the region of Priorat in Spain. It's a dry, somewhat arid climate, and they lean more toward the jammy kind of flavors, and also very high concentrations of alcohol. So it's not to my particular palate, but the wines can be.
Wine yards. How many wine yards are there in the world?
They just continue to expand. I don't even know if there's a number on it. I don't even know what current production is. I mean, wine consumption skyrockets every year. It was only 3 or 4 years ago that fine wine surpassed box wine in sales in the entire world, and the United States especially. Throughout Europe, where wine is an everyday thing, it gets shipped in 500-liter barrels. Plop down, your choice is red or white. My favorite area of Europe for hanging out is the Basque region of Spain. And they like to eat pinchos. They go out and they eat and drink all night from basically 9 o'clock until 1 or 2 in the morning, socializing. And it's red or white. That's it. That's what you got. If you go down to the village of Haro, which is just south of the Pyrenees, so just on the other side of the Basque Country, they're getting a little bit of wine from around the world, and they also have Rioja. Haro is the center of Rioja, so you get a lot more variety and more quality.
What about New Jersey vineyards? What do you, is yours?
I am sadly completely unversed in New Jersey. I am very outspoken. I don't bite my tongue well, and I also, as I mature slightly from like 12 to 13, I try not to hurt people's feelings, so I don't go. When people bring me wine, I'm always happy to taste it, but I try to at least be diplomatic. That is not to say the wines are not good. Good is what you think, not what I think. So I don't ever want to tell somebody that they shouldn't drink something because they don't like it. I would prefer, if you're in a certain price range, that you stick to somebody who is a farmer and an artist rather than somebody who makes wine in a commercial way. That's my only distinction, is be willing to spend a couple dollars and make mistakes to be able to try something you've never had that wasn't made in a chemistry lab. Like Yellowtail was made in a chemistry lab. I drink that stuff. I totally drink it. I love going and visiting my in-laws in Florida and drinking garbage and talking to their friends. It's fun for me. That's great. And a social event, totally cool. But on the other hand, there are people out there who have literally never left the village they make their wine in. And somebody has gone to their home to bring that to you. So it's worth a $6 adventure to say, I don't like this one. And you don't need help in the wine shop. Don't even ask. Just go and pick. And don't look for pretty labels. Just pick the ugliest label you find. Just do it.
Well, the high price wine, where does that come from?
It comes from all over the world. There are regions in every part of the world that make really great stuff. You know, for me, that region, I showed you a picture of Barolo, super, super important. That grape there, Nebbiolo, is, to me, the most noble grape in the world. When I say noble, I say it has varietal characters, so the grape itself imparts something into the wine. It is age-worthy when made appropriately, so it can go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years and evolve in the bottle. And it also shows the place it came from, down to not only the vineyard, but the part of the slope of the vineyard. Aldo Quinterno makes a wine in Monforte on one slope. It makes 4 bottlings off of it. And I can tell you, in a typical vintage, if I taste all 4 wines next to each other, I'll be able to say Cicala, Colonello, Gran Reserva, Normale. No problem. And if you put them in a line of 30 Nebbiolos from the same vintage, I will be able to pull those 4 wines out and do the same thing. They are that specific. So you can get that all over the world.
Now, does age matter?
Depends on the wine. Depends on. There's no rule. There's only experience.
Does tannin matter that much?
Yes, tannin matters.
Right. Because I was in Italy several years ago and we drank a lot of wine. And you never get, you might get happy, but you don't get drunk.
Yes, so
Headaches.
that is the phenomena of location and happiness. Though that is your body giving you endorphins, and it's the same thing that a cold shower can do for you when you're drunk. You go, oh, and all of a sudden you have a moment of clarity, and it's wonderful. And it's the reason to travel and go to visit these places. Let's taste the 2 red wines really quickly, so we can talk. Yeah, go ahead, Scott. All these wines, I don't think I spent more than $15 on anything, and I'm thinking this was in the $12 or $13 range. And this for me is a beautiful summer wine. Like, you will be able to guzzle this bottle with food or without food, no problem. I say buy it in a Magnum and pour it for your friends at a barbecue and go to town.
Is that the second one?
Yes, it's the fruitier of the 2, the one that's less bready.
What is the name of it?
It is Ferrari Carano, who's a pretty big producer. This is their Fumé Blanc, which is Sauvignon Blanc. And they actually give a great description. Meyer lemon, grapefruit, and apple.
The pictures of these on the website.
Oh.
On LUCA Lectures website. That's it.
All right, let's drink through these 2 drinks. All right. So, you have 2 red wines here. They smell completely different. Yes or no? I should have said that. Shit. See, I never know what to show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. It's almost like this is, yeah. The first one almost was a doctor's office, isn't it?
I'm going to put this out there. You tell me. I think one of them smells pretty fruity and somewhat vanilla. First one, yeah. And the second one kind of smells like barnyard. And mushrooms, and a little bit of kind of like stewed fruit, right? Forest floor, herb, little funk, yeah. It smells like horsehair. It is, it's totally terrible, but you know what? It's 100% accurate. That is what that smell is. And it's like dirty, funky weirdness, and I love it. so good. They're both delicious, okay? These wines are made in completely different styles. So this one you can actually get. Oh, by the way, if you're having trouble, if you smell them a couple times and you're having trouble differentiating them after you smell them a couple times, there's a trick. Smell your armpit. I'm totally serious. Your olfactory system gets fatigued really, really easily, as does your palate. You can recenter it simply by smelling something that is completely out of the realm of what you're smelling.
That works for anything.
It works for anything. It works for anything. So you're driving along in the car and you drive by a skunk, and that just goes away. Right? Like it's there, and then it stops. It's not going away because it's going away. It's going away because you just stopped smelling it. Your brain's like, I don't want to smell that anymore. I'm tired. Go away. So this is a little trick. I want you to try it. It's actually quite fun. When you drive by a skunk, turn your air conditioner on to recirculate so you're no longer getting outside air. The smell is still going to go away. I then want you to smell your armpit and then pull it out and smell the skunk again. It comes right back. It works with wine too. Alright, so let's look a little bit about the color. The first wine, it's hard to see on the top because of the shape of the glass. So let's actually hold it up to light and look at the bottom. The one on the right is a pinky purpley color.
Yeah.
The one on the left is a bricky garnet color.
Yeah.
Right? So they're on opposite sides of the spectrum, right?
Yes.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So do we already know something about this wine? We know that this one, we don't know. We're going to guess. Before we get there, we're going to make an assumption. And that is, they didn't have a higher pH. And therefore, lower acidity. This one has a red, bricky garnet color. So we're going to assume that it has a lower pH and more acidity, which means probably less ripeness. Okay? Now, before you smell it, you have to go, wipe that out of your mind. Because if you bias yourself, you're going to smell what you think you want to smell. So get rid of it. Let's go and smell this one.
Smell the pink one or the garnet one?
Start with the pink one.
Pink one? Okay.
Yep. It smells of individual fruit cocktail. I smell red fruit, I smell black fruit, and I smell white fruits. I smell like white wine kind of goodness. But it smells like fruit cocktail, right? It's not like, doesn't smell like cranberries, no. It doesn't smell like currants, no. You smell any bell pepper in this or herbs? The pyrazine stuff. The stuff that we would think of as grass or unripe stuff. No, it smells fruity, right? Does it smell like vanilla or spice? Not so much? Alright, let's go to the second one.
Alright.
So we've established it smells like horsehair, barnyard, wet earth. How about a stewed red fruit club? It smells like almost stewed cranberry or cherry or something.
Not like sweet red.
No, exactly. No, it's not sweet at all. There was no sugar addition here. It's woody. What kind of wood do you smell? Ah, yes! Perfect. She smells cedar. How about dill? Does anyone smell like literally dill herbs or dill pickle? Coconut? No, no coconut? Dill? No, no dill? I lost you on dill. You smell coconut? Okay. That is American oak. That is the hallmark character of American oak. It's like spicy, cedary, vanilla, dill, herb, dill, pickle, all of those things. They're all American oak. So right here, I would have already known what this wine was because it was brick in color. I smelled it. It smelled like that. I got the shrooms and I got the dill pickle. It's Rioja. It is what it is, unless somebody tried to make wine that tasted like Rioja. Then I'm just going to put it on my palate and we're going to reconfirm it. And in fact, this is the most typical cheap Rioja. I love it. The price is going up. It's like 12 or 13 a bottle. I like it better at 8, but still, you can buy this in any bodega in the country. That's what makes it awesome. I love it. Orchestra Escala. They make super traditional wine. This is Rioja, Rioja, Rioja. This is what Rioja is.
Is this 3 or 4?
This is
the
4.
dark 4.
Okay.
And 3 is Zinfandel. This is the more purpley one. Zinfandel is a sort of noble grape from California. When it's made right, we're not talking about pink Zinfandel. That is not the same animal.
Right.
Or white Zinfandel. That is something completely different. Zinfandel is the oldest vinifera grape grown in California. It's actually of Croatian descent. The original grape was Grape. It has mutated. Grapes love to mutate. Almost all the grapes that are in France are mutated from Pinot Noir. That includes Pinot Meunier, Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, all of them. They all come from common ancestry. Yep. Zinfandel is native to California by way of Croatia, mutated into what it is.
So what's the difference between this and the white Zinfandel, that pinky?
White Zinfandel doesn't have to have Zinfandel in it.
Really?
White Zinfandel is it's not really wine. It's wine, but it's not really wine. It's blush. There's a difference between, say, rosé is light red wine. Traditionally, it would be made in what's called the saignée method, where they would just slowly kind of drain the juice off of those skins while the juice was still pink. So it hasn't really had a whole lot of interaction with the skins to take out a lot of flavor, a lot of color. Saignée means to bleed, which makes sense. You're bleeding the wine off the skins. Now it's kind of rosé is generally made by just dosing white wine with red wine until you get the color and flavor you want. I kind of think that's cheating, but I mean it's rosé. It's meant to be drunk and had fun with and played with. And, you don't age it. You just drink it. It's chunky wine, which is perfectly acceptable. So
And I'm also asking, when they blend wines, I guess different grapes, do you think that's good, bad? Should we have a single?
no, I think that that blending can be great. That's up to that's up to kind of like the way the region works. So Bordeaux is like the classic of that, where you have at least on the left bank where the larger group of the Bordeaux regions come from. We grow mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot. They're blended together because they each have different characteristics. They like to grow in different soils, and you have a rather varied soil structure throughout Bordeaux. It's a kind of a middling climate, or historically at least it was a middling climate, where some years it would do really well, and some years you would have no problem at all. Planting a variety of grapes could give you a better chance as a farmer of having a crop at all. But it also gave you a better chance of taking all those different varieties that you've vinified separately, blending them together, and creating a wine of whole quality, good quality. There are areas like, we go back to Barolo, where some winemakers choose to blend all of their different vineyard sites to make a wine that's just Barolo. It's all still one grape, but they believe that Barolo is best as a blend. And then there are other producers who say, like El Paterno, he breaks his vineyards down literally by blocks, and vinifies them separately, bottles them separately. It makes a different wine.
Is there a place known for the best grapes in the world?
No, there are best sites for specific grapes in specific styles. So Napa can make great Cabernet Sauvignon. It's different from Bordeaux. Bordeaux makes great Cabernet Sauvignon that's very different from, say, Australia. They're different climates, and they work differently. There are certain grapes that will not do well in places outside of their specific region. For example, Viognier grows in the northern Rhone. It's a very aromatic grape. pretty much terrible for everywhere else. Some people think it's terrible for Northern Rhone, but it's very specific where it is. Does that make sense? Sir?
No.
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you think of the New Jersey wineries?
Yeah, I haven't tried it.
You haven't tried any of them?
Not that I mean, I'm sure like 10 or 15 years ago when I was trying 100 wines a day, I did, but not recently.
With that, New Jersey, they got the bill. They only had 4 wineries at one time. And they changed the law with the culture. Now they have over 39.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, look, I mean,
try it.
it really takes a long time for wineries and wineries to develop identities. So, I'm certain, I'll visit, I'll check it out. I mean, I like to have a good time. Right on, I love to do it.
When the wine is sour, what's that?
Oh, so we didn't really even talk about what does acidity feel like, guys? Acidity is sourness on your palate. It tickles. You feel it on the sides of your tongue? Okay. The fruitier red wine. When you put it on your palate, you get a really dense core of fruit kind of punches. Yeah, you guys you're really dense core of fruit on your palate, and then it's tart on the sides, right? Like after you swallow, you get kind of like that tingling sensation. Yep, back here. Yep. And you get a little bit of dryness on your teeth. The dryness on the teeth is tannin. It provides structure and agability to the wine. Acidity does the same thing, provides structure, but does the opposite, makes it salary. And it makes the wine tart. It creates balance. Now I'm going to tell you a dirty little secret in this wine. I know for sure that they added acidity to it. This acidity is not natural. This is 100% not natural.
So it's not wine from my these are both very good.
Yep.
So, but when I drink red wine, not
No, that's actually an allergic reaction to, you see my cheeks picking up right now? Same thing. It's to the end of the it's gone. It doesn't happen all the time. It's a low level of reaction. But yeah, that is actually, well, it's not an allergic reaction, but it is histamines. Your body's releasing histamines. Yes, exactly.
Like you spoke about the white wine and also the one in Spain where you said, they drink it from 9 to 2, or that one white wine we tested is just good to drink alone. Is there any, I don't know what you would call it, rule or whatever it says, these wines you only drink with food, and these wines are fine to
That's
drink
an
by
awesome question. So, the question, guys, are there certain wines that are only for food and certain that are meant to drink alone? And the answer to that is depends on you. What does your palate tell you? So some people might say, Barolo or Nebbiolo is a very austere wine. You really need something with fat in it to help combat that dryness and sourness. I don't feel that way, but I do have 2 rules with wine and food pairing. One is a preference, one is an absolute steadfast.
God, I forgot us.
The preference is that I like very complex wines with very simple foods. So great red wines, I eat with like plain hamburgers. Great beef, cooked properly, you control the fat content. It's literally the perfect vehicle for refreshing your palate with red wine. Really complex foods, I don't want to think about the wine while I'm eating the complexity of the food. So just give me something that like Muscadet, it's going to do its job. Like cleanse my palate, be refreshing, and then let me move back to the food. Now my rule. It's the only rule with wine. No white rinded cheeses with red wine. No. White rinded cheeses. So cheeses that have white rinds on them with red wine. Great. Disgusting. I despise wine and cheese pairing. Despise it. Yeah, because it's so hard to make them work harmoniously. The interactions between wine and food are so complex that even when you follow all of the rules, it still doesn't work. 9 out of 10 times it doesn't work. You are equally as likely to spin around like pin the tail of a donkey and get it right. And I say this with all love and having spent 20 years working with the best chefs in the world with an unlimited budget on wine. When I worked at Felidia Bastianich, I had a $30 million wine cellar. My annual budget for wine was $10 million. I had 12,000 bottles on hand at any given time, and they ranged from $28 on the list up to $24,000. And I got to drink them all. I had a chef who let me make whatever I wanted to eat. For some reason, took to me, even with my grating personality, and I swear my greatest pairing ever was beef tartare with a little bit of shaved white truffle during the truffle season in November, which is my favorite time of year. God, I miss New York City. And a oxidized rosé from Bandol that I was simply trying to get rid of because it was 3 years old and it was falling apart and should have been nasty. And it was orgasmic. It literally blew my mind.
Andrew, my mother was here.
I only opened the bottles because I needed to get rid of them. And other times, I literally did everything right and the pairing didn't work at all. So my recommendation, we have a saying in the wine industry, and that is behind every good bottle of wine there was a crappy case of beer. Because we all get so tired of wine that we drink so much beer. When you do cheese, drink beer. Beer is perfect. Pilsners, Belgian beers, even stouts, especially dry, like Irish style stouts, work great with those things. They have more simple structures to them, and they're more predictable, and they work phenomenal. Otherwise, just kind of enjoy your sides with your cheese. Your compotes, your nuts. Lemon water, iced tea, works great. Iced tea does a similar thing to wine. It has tannin. There's tannin in black tea. If you drink a strong cup of oolong, and you feel it on your teeth, right? It dries your palate out. It does the same thing. It cleanses your palate. See, I piss people off all the time. I'm constantly like, no, don't do that. No. Again, you do what makes you happy. Like always. If you're coming to a party at my house, there's going to be 20 beers open and probably 20 bottles of wine too. So, yeah, we do have a good time. Well, I have twin 3-year-olds at home, so we have to find a time when they're not going to be around. Sure, let's talk a little bit about the benefits of wine. The studies are highly conflicting, no matter what anybody tells you. I was at Cornell when resveratrol was associated with the oxidative reductive reactions in your body. It can help reduce oxidation in a lab setting, but only really at concentrations that are significantly higher than what you'd be able to drink without dying many times over from alcohol poisoning. So, does resveratrol help your health? I don't know, and nobody else does. There are really no good studies. There are Belgian studies that show that drinking 5 shots of whiskey a day has the same benefit to your body as drinking 1 glass of wine. And the Belgian study is the largest study, 500 people over 5 years. So, as somebody who also enjoys whiskey, I'm not going to argue with any of them. I would say that you should probably follow your doctor's instructions, and you should drink moderately, as I would say is responsible for all people at all times.
Right.
That's wine is certainly not going to force you, unless you have a specific medical condition that says that. So, cholesterol, again, is a super complex reaction. It is true that the French paradox exists. They eat more foods that are higher in cholesterol than we do, and somehow have significantly lower cholesterol. Some people have linked that to wine consumption. Some people have linked that to the fact that they simply have better BMIs than we do. They have much lower body mass indexes. DDA used to tell me, when I worked for him, I was an avid marathon runner, and he used to call me a fat boy all the time, which cracked me up because I was like 140 pounds dripping wet. But French people are lighter than American people, and that has health benefits, especially on cholesterol. The last study I saw that I really liked was on homogenized milk products, fats, that they do not consume in France. Milk is largely not homogenized milk. When you homogenize milk, you shake it to the point of breaking the fat molecules down from being very large clumps to being tiny. When there have been studies that have only been shown in rats that show that homogenized milk causes the body to metabolize more fat and therefore raise cholesterol. So the price for having milk that doesn't separate in the refrigerator is poor health. Poor health. So a lot of the milks that French people eat or in cheeses, those are clearly not homogenized. As a matter of fact, they often want to separate the milk fats to make a more concentrated cheese. But they're not homogenized. And I believe in the study, we're going 10 years back at least, almost 80% of the milk fats in these cheeses were passed through the rate. Whereas homogenized milk, the absorption rate was like 90%. So you're talking a huge, huge difference. Did I confuse you? Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's complex. I mean, nobody has the answers on these things. But it's neat. I mean, I love reading this stuff. Now, I chose that study because I liked it. It agreed with my internal bias, which says I want to eat more cheese. So, you may talk to a physician or a nutritionist who completely disagrees with me. I'm not listening.
There's a question.
Yes.
Before I ask the question, I just have a theme.
Sure. I think they are important now.
But, well, my question is, about wine rating systems, like you go to the store and you see wine inspector, oh, this one got a 90, this got a 92, and they're from different sources. I mean, a lot of times I just go by what I like, but,
Does anybody have a fence I can sit on? I have a hate-hate relationship with them. I respect anything that will get people to experiment more. So if it's your first couple of times going into a wine shop, okay, cool. if it prevents you from talking to somebody that works in a wine shop, I'm less happy. I want the human interaction between you as a consumer and somebody who cares about what they do, which is why I despise Pennsylvania's state liquor laws, where it says the state has to sell wine. What does the state know about wine? The state knows nothing about wine. How about somebody like me or you who cares about the product and is actually trying it and spreading the love of what it is? We're talking about a farmer somewhere tucked away in some corner of the world, some importer who goes there and finds it, goes through the effort, brings it here, takes it to the shop, and then gives it to the state so they can go, no. We have wine works right down the street in Marlton who, like, they have a guy in there who's procuring this stuff and loves it. Go talk to the guy, and he's going to tell you something that's a little deeper than what those, the ratings are. The ratings are only what my palate or that person's palate are. My job as a wine educator and salesperson is to bring the product to you that you love. And I'm going to bring you something first that says that's what you like. And then I'm going to say, I'm not going to sell you something I think you're going to like. I'm going to sell you something different. You've been in 4 or 5 times, and trust me now, now you have to give me $10 to play with. Or I'm going to let you on your own and you just make a decision. My first customer that I did that with was Matt Damon, who is the coolest friggin' dude on the planet. He is awesome. He loves wine, and he's not snobby at all. And leaving Astor Wines, I missed that dude so badly because he was so chill. And he would come in, he had a hat on, mind his own business. He'd see me talking to another customer, he'd come up and stand next to him, and he would start talking about the wine. Just a super down-to-earth dude. So I got to serve David Bowie once too. This is my hero. David Bowie. All right, let's do this last wine. I cheated. I smelled it and tasted it, but only took 1 sip. And it.
Wait, you still did it. That's not cheating. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah, but I hadn't taken everybody through it yet. I'm going to tell you, I put it on my palate and I immediately went to what I thought it was. It's the one that smells like bell peppers.
It's the one in the small cup that I just gave you.
It's a secret wine. He doesn't know what it is.
So, I don't know what this wine is. I sent Charlie to get this wine without me. So, this one's truly blind. The first 4, I didn't. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to play with Andrew.
Okay.
And we're going to see if can I actually do what I said I could do. All right. So you guys help me. Tell me what's in the one. Yeah. Are we talking about black pepper or green peppers? Like peppercorns or
No, I think more vegetable there.
more vegetable? Yeah. I'm actually getting a little spike of like feeling right up here. That is peppercorny. That's rotundant. It has an aroma that has a sensation because it's often linked with volatile acidity created by acetobacter. It's normal in the wine. And in this one, it feels almost like a prick of carbonation on your palate. Do you feel that? You put on your palate and it's almost like bubbling. It's not bubbling. There's no carbon dioxide in this. At least no bubbling carbon dioxide. There's definitely dissolved carbon dioxide. Do you feel that? That's volatile acidity. It's bitter, but it's at a very, very low threshold. Okay. Yeah, definitely moving to dark territory. What do we got for fruits? Red fruit or black fruit? Olives, I love that. Is that on your wheel?
Oh, olives?
Yep. Pull your wheel out. The wheel is actually really good. And what I like about the wheel is you can start in the middle, or you can start on the outside, and either move from broad to narrow or narrow to broad. And it really helps you kind of focus your brain on what you're smelling.
I gotta post this.
Ah, okay.
What do you think, Tim?
Little anise. Yep. Okay, so those fall in the rotundant category also. But we're definitely getting the pyrosine from the bell pepper, right? Like that's there. That one became already. I'm getting a mixture of red and black fruits. Like red fruits are pretty bright and expressive, but then as you like take a little bit of a deeper inhalation, you get kind of like a little bit of sweetness also, and they feel pretty ripe. And it's really kind of blackberry-ish. So really dry, right? No sugar content at all. Yeast can really only get down to 2 grams per liter, way below your threshold, super dry. Does anybody taste like a medicinal Tylenol character on the aftertaste? That's a tannin reaction. It's phenolic. It comes from it's from the tannins in the wine. It kind of like messes with your palate a little bit, dries it out, and you get this phenolic bitterness.
What does that tell you about rarity in the world?
Cool. So tannins, when they're super ripe, like this Zinfandel actually had a lot more tannin than this does, but the tannins were a lot riper. They had more phenolic ripeness. So they were smoother, easier, rounder. These also had less skin contact, so less aggressive tannin was probably extracted. Whereas this one, they were really punching it down and saying, let's get a lot of tannin out of this. We need structure, we need structure. So they took something that was actually a relatively light one. Do you agree this one is pretty low in body? If you compare it to the other two, those are much thicker, fuller, bigger on your palate. This one's lighter. They used a little bit of tannin to kind of give it more structure. Okay. I'm also getting a little bit of what we call EA, or ethyl acetate, which is nail polish remover, varnish. Yeah, it's a common characteristic in wine. When it gets out of control, it smells like nail polish and strawberries. It's kind of gross. In this wine, it's again just adding a little bit of a lift to the wine. It's creating aromatic complexity. It tells me a little bit about the winemaking. So I have volatile acidity and ethyl acetate. Those are things that you don't get in a really clean made wine. Zinfandel, very modern. So this is telling me it's probably more traditionally made. Again, more punch downs, more tannin extraction, less ripeness. I'm like, my brain is really going old world to a marginal climate. It's because we got sourness or even acidity. We got drying tannin. We got pyrazines, which say less ripeness. We got red fruit, which has less ripeness. We got red currants and black currants and bell peppers. So we got terpenes and pyrazines. They're saying a group of grapes that are Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, or Merlot. I am going to say it is 1 or 3 of those grapes. And it's from a marginal climate. Now this is where it gets tricky. Where do these grapes come from? And where do they taste like this? Now, there are places in the world outside of the main areas that will do this, but mainly these grapes come from France. And they pretty much, when they're in this form, they're probably French. So Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot definitely grow in California and Australia. But they're not like this in California. In California, they're going to be brighter and have more refined tannins like the Zinfandel. In Australia, they're going to be really big and almost soupy. Really high alcohol, big body. So we're in France now. See how we're doing differential diagnosis? We took what we knew, and we're narrowing it down to something more focused. Now, where do these things grow in France? They grow in the Loire Valley. So, if France was a big square, which it sort of is, the Loire Valley goes like this. On the north end, it goes all the way out to the western border, and then it goes 2/3 of the way down the country. It makes a dive down south. This area right here is sort of middle of the north, so it's 100 miles north of Champagne. Is where the Cabernet Franc grows. If you go 200 miles south, now you're in Bordeaux, which is the dead center of France. Much warmer. Again, the same grapes are growing. you expect it to be a bit riper. But the thing about Bordeaux is Bordeaux has this like middle section of very expensive wines. The first growths, the second growths, third, fourth, and fifth growths. Then it expands out and the wines become more and more rustic. As they become more rustic, they start to become more old school in style and probably a little less ripe. So now it's like, are these Bordeaux Superior? Are these Haute Bordeaux? Are these rustic styles of Bordeaux? Or is it Loire Valley? And now I'm just gonna guess. Probably less Cabernet Franc, more Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot in those areas. And my brain is really telling me that this is either really rustic Cabernet Sauvignon or it's Cabernet Franc. It's missing. There's one. Cabernet Franc tends to have a purple flower look like violets. Those are esters. They happen during the fermentation, so you can get them anywhere, but really Cabernet Franc does a lot. You're not smelling it though. Do you smell violets? Is she here? The last indicator here is that there is a slightly purple hue. So if it's purple hue, which should have said it's a warmer climate, but we decided it's a cold climate, now we have to say it's winemaking. And there are ways to do this, and that's microoxygenation and semi-carbonic maceration, which we'll talk about afterwards. I'm just going to bite the bullet. I really feel like it's Bordeaux, but I'm going to say it's not. I'm going to say it's Loire. It's Bordeaux. Damn it, it's Bordeaux!
No. Forget that you got it was Bordeaux, but you got Cabernet Franc and Merlot.
Yeah.
75% Merlot. Or is it Merlot?
So, not too bad, right? We got into the country, we got into the grape varieties. We didn't really try for the vintage, but it was going to be 2013 or 2014 no matter what, because that's all that's available. So,
I would have just been able to say red or white, just so you know.
So do you believe me? You can do this now? Yeah. Right? We used the science of it to take it from super broad all the way down to saying this is what it is.
Okay,
we know what it is.
France, right? But what region?
So this is from Bordeaux. I was tossed between Bordeaux and Loire Valley. So the reason I ended up with Loire Valley was actually the color. So in Bordeaux, people who are making wine in that style generally aren't engaging in microoxidation or semi-carbonic maceration. So what microoxygenation is a way to break up the tannin structure a little bit during the fermentation and afterwards to soften the wine more. Now, it can make the wine more red or it can make the wine more purple. I thought this wine actually had semi-carbonic maceration on it. What that is grapes will actually begin to ferment themselves if you pick them and don't break their skins. There's an enzymatic reaction that will develop 2, 3, 4, sometimes up to 6% alcohol. That would be really aggressive without the use of yeast. The enzymatic reactions within the grapes will actually ferment themselves. So, you know Beaujolais Nouveau? Everybody knows Beaujolais, right? Like the fun party wine, $5 a bottle, tastes like candy. That's carbonic maceration. They actually ferment the grapes on their own without crushing. Once you crush them, that doesn't happen. You add oxygen, yeast gets involved, and starts doing its thing. So semi-carbonic maceration is a way to take very unripe grapes or less ripe grapes and add some fruity character, but it always makes them more purple. Always. Wine always comes out purple. So even after you do the semi-carbonic maceration, you let them ferment 2, 3, 4%. Then you crush the grapes and ferment them naturally, they won't lose the purple hue. So you have a wine, and every indicator says this wine should be red, brick, garnet color. But then it's purple, you know that there's some wine making influence. And that's like the next level thinking, but it really screwed me up on this one. And it's the one that said, the semi-carbonic maceration is really trendy right now in the Loire Valley, and less so in Bordeaux. So that's why I went there, even though the tannin structure kept saying more. Yeah. Oh, huge.
Throw everything on.
Winemaker can do everything or nothing. They can do everything or nothing. I'm going to put one plug in for my favorite wine producer in the United States, and that is Ridge Vineyards in Sonoma. They make Zinfandel that retails for around 30 a bottle, Chardonnay and Cabernet that retail for 30 to 50 a bottle, and Montebello, their flagship wine, which is like 150 a bottle. They are a modern style winery, which is not to my taste. They use a tremendous amount of American oak. As a matter of fact, they pioneered fine wine in American oak in the United States, not to my taste. They make wines of very high concentration, not to my taste. But they make wines honestly. When you read their label on the back, it tells you exactly what they did. It tells you about how the wine was made. It tells you what grapes they put in. It tells you where they came from. It tells you the amount of SO2 they used, when they used it, what they picked the grapes. And then they're so honest, they tell you how much water they put back in the wine. They literally have to add water back to the wine to make it balanced. But they don't lie about it. They have no dogma. None. There is no dogma. I hate dogma. I believe that the winemaker's job is to make the best expression of what is put in his hands. So do what you can. Don't make silly rules that prevent the winemaker from making the best product he can. Now that clearly means the winemaker has to be both honest and talented, but we don't make rules for the dumb. We make rules to make the best expression of the best product we possibly can. So that's my plug for
I drank the best wine ever 2 years ago.
Yes?
This wine, the grape felt like it was bursting in my mouth. So tasteful. I never thought wine.
No idea. But if you find out what it was, I can explain it to you.
This guy was
Well,
Maybe I was there for it.
It was like fireworks.
In where? No, food and wine cellar?
yeah,
Okay, I have.
I know personally.
Well,
I guessed it was Marlowe.
Did you? There you go.
Oh, Chris, I like not because
But the fact that he figured out it was France.
I know.
Amazing.
Mine was only because, oh, I really like this one. Like,
Because you what?
and it was pretty. Pretty color.
Yes.
I mean, there's some tremendous stuff out there. I drank a bottle of
It's very good. It's
Chateau
He doesn't care. He'll go on forever.
The wine, Chateau Yquem is the most famous Sauternes producer. The winemaker, the wine goes now for $400, $500, $600 a bottle. So during World War II, he was captured, was taken to a concentration camp, where he developed a folio on the people running the camps, which he used to blackmail them, to smuggle wine in, where he threw bacchanalian events for the prisoners. And when he was liberated, he walked back from Germany to France, began to tend his vineyards. The 45 was the first wine he made when he got home. And my good buddy Christopher, that you saw up there, shared it with me on an amazing evening. And it was absolutely priceless. And it was tasted like it was 10 years old. It was wine. So good. But those are the stories. I mean, this stuff is out there. It still exists. to share. It's, their entire life. When you travel Europe, less as a tourist, more as an observer, and you go to these wineries, you sit down with their families, you get to play soccer with their kids, and it's awesome. It's a great experience. Any more questions, guys?
This wine, the years matter. This guy was telling me if he had wine 3 years, it's better than the wine bottle that is 6 years old.
Yeah, no rules. No rules. Not at all. I mean, there are certain wines that age and certain wines that don't. That's it. I buy wine to age for my children, and I buy wine to drink tonight. Sometimes I drink my kids' wine.
I have a 12:30. Oh, I was so great seeing you. I'm going to email you. See you.
You're welcome to shoot me an email with the information off the label, and I'll be happy to help you out with that. Generally, you can pretty much shoot the label and know what's going on. The storage of the wine has a huge impact, clearly, but I also encourage you to just open it, just drink it. Literally, I will open wine that I plan on keeping for 20 or 30 years just because I will. It's like, thank God, every day, you woke up, whatever. It's there. It's not going to save someone's life, but it may make your day better.
Years ago, I had in a crockery bottle, it was called Polish honey wine.
Huh?
And it's cherry. I can't find it anywhere. Is there any way I can get it?
Google. Yeah. Don't give up. Just keep Googling. As you Google, look for the keywords on the bottom of each link, and then use those keywords to keep looking. You'll find it. But yeah, is it Marines? The Polish cherry stuff. There's so many of those cool liquors and wines out there. And you know what? Just order them, man.
Well, there's a liqueur in Prague, and it's Beganovka, it's called. But in Prague, they have the lemon. You can't get that here. Here, the one will put hair on your chest, so strong. The lemon is for the ladies, that's what they told us. But we can't get it here.
No, I mean that's part of the beauty of the beverages. They're super hyper regional. I mean, I literally can tell you that until the early 90s, people literally in Burgundy, people who charge $800 a bottle for their new release, had never tasted wine outside of their region. And yet they're able to make world-class wine. They know nothing of the science. The science is something that they learn through art. And it's not that they are practicing science. It's inherent to having grown up with it and being taught. You know, it's no different than learning language and storytelling. It's the same thing. It's just through the process of the brain. It's cool. And to be honest, when their kids started going to UC Davis and becoming an ologist and coming home, they destroyed an entire decade of wine. Almost 2 decades of wine. If you've never seen the movie Mondovino, I suggest you watch it. It's about the homogenization of wine throughout the world. Mondovino. Yep. And it's basically a whole generation of winemakers who came home and learned how California was making wine and began applying it to their local wines and ruined them. There's literally a dead spot in the whole world from the early 90s until basically 2005, where you really have to be careful of not getting wines that taste like at least nothing to me. They may still be good. I'm not saying the wines are bad. I'm just saying they're not representative of what they could be.
Well,
All right, guys.
fabulous.
Thank you, guys. I really
lecture, when I talk about DNA, you